everyone, welcome to Season 3, Episode 4 of the Pink Fishes podcast. I'm Chloe.
And I'm Hattie.
And today our podcast is Lash Room Stories Part 2. So our first story is, I had a mysterious client booking for some holiday lashes last year. No pictures and not many followers, but I'm not one to judge. I booked her in and I didn't think anything of it. When she came for her appointment, I really thought I recognised her. Anyway, she started asking me loads of personal questions about my love life and family. Then it hit me. She was the girl my boyfriend of 5 years cheated on me with and is currently in a relationship with. She had made a fake account on Instagram to book in with me and wanted to know whether I still see my ex. Well, I definitely wasn't still seeing my ex, but once I realised the lengths she had gone to be this crazy, you can bet that I told her I was still seeing my ex, calm as a bitch.
I mean, fair enough. I'd be fuming. I'd be very jealous. I'd probably ring my ex up and say, oh, you new birds in my lash room. I would be personally so upset.
Same.
If that happened to me. Like, I actually can't imagine what she must have been going through. 5 years, and then the girl who did it is laying on your lash bed.
Yeah, I would be absolutely fuming at that.
Yeah.
I know I'd probably do the same. I'd probably still say to that girl that I was seeing my ex still as well.
I don't know. I don't know if I would. I might just tell her that I knew who she was.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would actually tell her that I was seeing my ex because, you know, they're both gross, they deserve each other. But I do feel like if it actually happened to me, I wouldn't want to make her get really angry at me because at the end of the day, you're still providing a service.
Yeah.
You know, she won't have any trust in him because she cheated with him.
Mm. How you get them is how you lose
yeah,
them.
That's exactly it.
The length she went to as well, though,
Making
to
a
create
fake Instagram.
a whole Instagram account and to book in with her, like that's pretty crazy.
Obviously, you've got to remain professional because it's your job, and she's still a paying client. Or hopefully, she paid. Hope she wouldn't come in, make a fake account, tell you that she's banging your ex, and then not pay you.
Yeah,
but
she would do that.
Yeah, like you've got to stay professional because this is your livelihood. I would just get it done as quickly as possible because I wouldn't want her to be laying on the bed any longer than she actually needs to. I'm just glad it has never happened to me.
Honestly, same.
Yeah, I can't imagine it. I can't imagine what that poor girl must have been going through. I think I would just probably break down, to be fair. Like, all jokes aside, if I had someone laying on my bed that was now with my boyfriend of 5 years, I mean, depending on how old you are, you probably thought you were going to marry them. Yeah, I'd probably break down, I'd probably cry, you know, or I'd just do a really ugly pair of lashes. Don't know. See how I feel in the moment. Okay, so a bit more of a light-hearted story. We've got someone who said, I had a fairly new client in for lashes and during her appointment she farted whilst on the bed really loud, and then she said to me, that is so rude and so unprofessional of you to do that while you're doing my lashes, and blame me for the huge fart. Safe to say I never booked her in again. Personally, I think this one's quite funny because I find farts quite funny. Don't know how I'd feel about someone letting rip and then blaming it on me during an appointment.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about this, that she's blamed it on the lash tech.
Own it. But yeah, I think, you know, you're getting your lashes done and when you're doing lashes, if you've been working 8 hours and you haven't had anything to eat, your belly's going to rumble, you know, you might get a little tickle in your throat when you like I get that, I get like a tickle go up my throat, you know, like some noises you do get when you're laying on the lash bed. I don't know how many farts I've had, but I've had a couple of burps, snores, belly rumbles, but yeah, I could probably count the number of farts on my hand, and I've been lashing for 6 years and no one's ever blamed me for their fart, luckily.
Yeah, that's the really odd thing, that she's blamed it on the lash tech. I mean, she might have thought she might have thought it was going to be silent, and it wasn't. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you're saying you can count the amount of farts in your hand you've had in the lash room, but I'm sure there's a lot more people that have done silent ones.
Yeah. Probably rather than be silent, so I don't actually know.
But some people probably, they can't help things like that. Like, people have, like...
Yeah, if you've got stomach issues...
Yeah, stomach issues and things like that. So they probably can't help it. And, like, generally, there are a lot of, like, noises that happen in the lash room. Like, people can come in that, like, with a cough, so they're coughing, sneezing.
Wheezy. Yeah.
They might fall asleep, so they're snoring. And, like, if you do any of those things, you kind of just, like, if you have a cough or if you fart, just, like, own it and be like, oh, sorry. Like, don't go blaming it on the, like... Yeah. Because they're going to know it wasn't... They're going to know it wasn't them.
If someone farted and then blamed it on me, I don't know whether I would really, really laugh or be like,
I think that was a joke.
Yeah.
So the fact that it sounded like she was serious and actually did try to blame the lash check is a little bit odd, because obviously the lash check knows it wasn't her, it was the client. I suppose she was just like very embarrassed.
Yeah.
But like, it's like a normal thing, really.
Yeah,
like,
you gotta let your wind out. But yeah, I don't know how I'd feel about a new client blaming me for a big old fart on the bed. At least she didn't follow through. Hey.
But I've had it before when I've gone to like an appointment or a lash appointment or something like that, and like I'm bursting for a wee, but I try my best to just kind of like hold it until the end, because I don't want to like disturb the lash check or whatever. And
I mean, I've guided so many people to the toilet with their eyes shut, and you know, they might have done a blow off in there. They might not have even needed a wee. They might have really needed a blow off and said, "Can I go to the toilet?" so they can fart about their day in the toilet. But yeah, you've got to go, you know, sometimes.
Exactly.
It is what it is.
Yeah, like I personally wouldn't mind if somebody did that. Like, it's not like they've done something like
illegal.
Pooed the bed or something. Where it's going to affect me. I've got to like get a new bed and everything like that. It's just a fart.
Yeah, it might have just sounded like a fart, but you never know. You know? So change your sheets.
So our next story is, like most lash techs, I do not allow eating whilst on the lash bed for safety reasons. Once had a client who had some chewing gum in throughout her appointment. Even though I asked her to take out any chewing gum prior to the appointment, she assured me that she didn't have any in. Midway through the appointment, she began choking on the lash bed, and she had fallen asleep with the chewing gum in and shot up from the bed whilst I was lashing, which was so dangerous as the tweezers were right by her face. Luckily, she was okay and was never booked back in. That is just so dangerous.
That's just quite ignorant, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, why would she in the first place say she didn't have any in if she did? Like, she must know if she lays down with chewing gum in, something like that could possibly happen. So it's her bad completely, because the lash tech has said, you know, I don't allow food in there, make sure you don't have any chewing gum in and stuff like that. And then she's then taken it upon herself to then have chewing gum in during the appointment, which is just, it is so
Maybe
dangerous.
her breath was honking and she needed it. She just had a tuna and onion sandwich and she felt like she needed the chewing gum in.
Honestly.
But no, yeah, it is really dangerous. Like, I'm the same. I don't let anyone lay down while they're chewing gum. I have chewed gum whilst having a lash appointment and I have choked.
Have you ever tried eating chewing gum laying down as well? Like, why would that be?
It's like a whole thing.
Yeah, I would feel like I can't. Yeah, I feel like I can't breathe if I was
Sometimes when I've had it in, I just sort of stick it up to the side. But then if I fell asleep and like, you know, how you do in your sleep, and you easily could,
Yeah.
But yeah, I just say to my clients, you know, avoid eating.
Generally, yeah, you should say no to any clients
in the lash bed.
Yeah, any clients eating in the lash room, because it's very dangerous.
Unhygienic.
It's unhygienic.
Gross.
Your next clients might have allergies to whatever you've eaten in there, and it's just like, you don't need to be eating 24/7.
Yeah.
Like, eat before you go
Especially
to the lash
if you're
appointment.
getting an infill. Like, you really don't need to eat during
No.
an hour space. If your lash tech is training and, you know, they're taking 4 or 5 hours to do a full set, I would understand. But also, when you're laying down and you're eating and we're doing your lashes and you're chewing, your temples are constantly pulsating. So it's almost like pushing our hand out of where we need to be to isolate your lashes. I've had so many clients in before and they're chewing gum, and, you know, as they chew, they clench their jaw and their temples pop in and out, and then I've got perfect isolation, you know, I'm really happy with myself, and then I'm like this. It's really frustrating. It gets to a point, you know, I've been in the middle of appointments and I'm like, can you take your chewing gum out, because I didn't realise you had it in. Some of them are like, no. And some of them, you know, they don't mind. I just say it's making it, you know, a lot harder for me to isolate your natural lashes, and you're basically prolonging the process of me doing a set of lashes. But yeah, my main concern is obviously them choking and dying on my lash bed, because I don't know if my insurance covers that. No. So
on that note as well, like, I know it can be hard to avoid, but you know, like, if a client's like if a client's it's making me laugh. You know, if a client's like really laughing or something, and some people can just kind of do like a soft laugh, but you know, some clients, like, they really like move their faces,
and then their iPads move up, and then they're like, my eye hurts.
The iPads come off. Like, it's just a bit annoying, isn't it? But I mean, you can't really help a laugh. But eating, you can definitely avoid.
Well, while we're on that topic, I had one client, and every time she spoke, it wouldn't even be anything that you even had to think about. I'd be like, what's your favourite colour? And she frowned her eyebrows really bad. And every time she frowned, if I had my hand trying to isolate, my hand would go out here. It was like impossible. She would just constantly, like, she was talking like that, and then I actually went, I really need you to relax, darling. I'm going to put some, meditation music on, some spa music on. And she also had someone in the room with her, like I used to let friends come into appointments. So they were constantly talking, and it was so frustrating because when they're talking, they're moving all around, and I can sort of deal with that because I'll just find the minute when they're not going like this.
God.
But
yeah, I feel like sometimes people forget they're actually having the lashes done when they do that. When they've got somebody there, and then they're like moving their head round, like even though their eyes are shut,
opening their eyes,
they're moving their head round towards the person they're talking to, and I think they kind of just forget how like intricate it is as well for like a lash tech to actually isolate each lash and everything. It's like it's not as like easy, I think, as general people would think it is to
I think that
apply lashes,
especially when I've got clients that I know are super fidgety or chewing gum or moving around or sleeping, and I probably covered 20% less lashes in the set time that I wanted to do their lashes. I will either run over or have to let them leave without having 100% coverage on their lashes because they're just constantly moving, and it's too hard for me to do what I usually do in 2 hours. I would need 2.5 hours to do, sort of thing. So yeah, it is frustrating, but yeah, just a reminder, don't eat chewing gum because you don't want to choke on the bed like this poor woman. And yeah, it's just unhygienic. Imagine getting all crumbs in the bed, and I'm like, I once allowed, when I was right at the beginning of my lash career, I let someone eat loads of crisps during their appointment because I was taking like 4 hours, and my bed, I used to have a black cover for the bed. I obviously washed it in between clients because I didn't ever do more than one client a day, and it was covered in like all cheesy, I think it was Doritos, and it was crumbs, crumbs all in her hair, and it was just like the orange all around her mouth because she couldn't see what she was doing. It was just gross, and I don't think I've ever let anyone eat from that day on in my lash room. I'll eat chewing gum. I'm allowed to.
You eat chewing gum when you're doing people's lashes?
Yeah.
Are you not scared it's gonna like fall out? I would not be able to risk that. I'd be so scared because
I always have chewing gum in, especially if I've eaten something.
Yeah.
I don't think the last thing they want is my ponging breath over them for an hour and a half, Or if I've just had a coffee, I have to. I have to have it.
I'd just use like mouthwash or something, I think, but...
What if you're in between clients? Can't be like, sorry babe, I'm just going to go mouthwash myself.
Well, I always need a wee anyway, so if I had clients like back to back, I'd have to just wee. I mean, I've had to go between, like, during their appointment as well before. Have you ever done that? I've done it
maybe twice in my whole career.
Yeah, you've got quite a good bladder though. I don't know why we're talking about bladder issues, but I've had to like. I think it's because I drink quite a lot. I'll say
to Clara, I need the toilet. 4 hours later, I'm like, still need the toilet. I think where I've done lashes for so long and I've had so many back-to-back days, I just, it's quite bad. I do hold it unless like a client's late and I've got like 5 minutes. I'm like, probably should go to the toilet now.
Yeah.
I needed it for 3 clients. But yeah, moral of the story, don't eat on the lash bed. Okay, so our next story is, one time an influencer with a large following asked to come in for a free set of lashes in return for a few bits of tagged content on her page, which I thought was worthwhile as I was trying to build my little business. Fair enough. I would do the same. So I did her lashes, she was super happy and loved them, she was so thankful, and then I let her leave without paying as we agreed, only to see straight after she'd blocked me on Insta and posted nothing of her lashes. I also came to learn she'd done it to quite a few other lash techs around my area. Maybe I wouldn't do it. Take that back.
That is, that's really unfair on her.
Yeah.
Because she was obviously, should be quite excited. If I got a message from someone with a large following saying the same thing, I'd be quite excited because it's a chance to build up your Instagram or whatever when they post it. But yeah, that's just really cheeky of the person. She basically just wanted a free set of lashes. She lied to her. I think that's really unfair.
Yeah. I mean, I've had an influencer in before. I remember we were having that conversation. She was so normal. Her name was Georgia. She was so lovely. She didn't ask for them for free. I did them. She was going on holiday the next day. I did do them really late in the evening, which I wouldn't usually do. I think we started at like 11 o'clock, but she was leaving the next morning. But she put me all over her Instagram, you know, tagged me the whole holiday. She still follows me on Instagram, really supportive, really lovely. So I think that's worthwhile, you know, finding someone that you actually, you know, you can build a connection with. But although it sounds like she was also really nice in the appointment, but I think sometimes it's luck of the draw who you sort of get in. But I think if they're an influencer and they're asking for free stuff, then it's probably going to end not so good. You know, this is a luxury service. They should have to pay for it. Yeah, I know. It's a bit awkward, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, yeah, you've got 600,000 followers. Yeah, come in for a free set of lashes. I'd love to get you on my Instagram. But then to go out, block her, not pay, and then realise that she's done it to a lot of other people as well. I think that's really cruel to do to someone with a small business. But yeah, I think if you find the right influencers, you know, and they ask you to book in and they ask to pay, I think you're more likely to get something from them because, you know, they've actually paid for the service. Whereas if they're just getting it done for free, they don't actually have that care.
Yeah.
I think personally.
Yeah. Even if you had an influencer come to you and they paid for the service, it doesn't really matter if they post it or if they don't, to be honest, because they've paid you for your time, they've paid you for the things that you've used and everything like that.
It's always nice if they just
and then like them posting is just like an added bonus. But if you're giving something away for free, I'd be so annoyed because I've spent my time doing that. I've spoken to her throughout the appointment. We've got along really well, and then she goes away and then
it's almost like a blind
without
side,
paying, and then doesn't post anything about it. I think it's really cheeky of her, and
teach her a lesson to not do it again and like not trust people. I think you know, all through your career you're going to have people ask you for handouts, you know, free stuff, free appointments, and you need to sort of learn and be confident in your business and like your worth of your business and your quality of product, quality of service, that you don't need to give things out for free. Like you don't need that. If you are good at what you do, you slowly build up your clientele and keep, you know, maintain that clientele. You don't need these influencers to come in for free to promote you. Obviously it takes a while and it does sound like a good deal. Oh yeah, it's 2 hours and I'll get loads of free followers, but you know, how trusting can you be, sort of thing. It's like influencer marketing is so expensive nowadays that why are they going to do something for free for you when they can get paid $5,000 to do it from someone else? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I think, you should just never give anything out for free, especially if it's your time.
Nothing in life comes free.
It doesn't.
Never. But yeah, I think just be careful with who you're letting into your salon and who you're letting, you know, if you do it from home, who you're letting into your home, because you don't know who they are. You know, maybe next time you could take a deposit. I don't know how it would work if you took a deposit and then said, I'll refund the deposit when you post something on Instagram. I don't know if you could maybe do it that way next time.
Yeah, I mean, that's
a
better idea than just doing it completely for free, because then at least if they don't do anything, you can just keep the money. And it's essentially like they've paid you for the appointment.
But I mean, if young 16-year-old Lash Tech me had all the Love Island girls wanting to book in and not wanting to pay, I'd probably have booked them in.
Just to meet them.
I was a Love Island fan. Just to meet them. All right, darling.
Don't need to post anything.
Just like around the fire pit.
Just want to chat to you and ask you about Love Island.
But I think obviously if you're young and you're starting your own business, that is a no-brainer. You would think, yes, 100%. But yeah, just be careful with who you're letting in to your salon and know that nothing in life is free. I think if you're swapping services with someone, it's different. You don't pay if they're not paying, you don't pay. Again, swapping services, you know, you really need to be able to trust the other person, because, you know, if me and Chloe were to do each other's lashes and we did it one after the other and you know that straight after you're going to get your lashes done, it's different. But if you're, you know, met someone online and said, oh, do you want to swap brows for lashes? And said, yeah, okay, I can do your lashes tomorrow. Said, oh, I can do your brows next week. If you're not in the same like appointment span, I don't know if I would trust it.
No.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, especially if I didn't know them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that owning your own business, you need to know who you can trust and who you can't. And I think strangers is it's a big risk, and obviously, you know, you don't want to be out of pocket. How much product did you use on that influencer? Like, how much money did you lose? I don't think you can trust it. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Unless you write up a contract and get them to sign it and take them to court. I think that would be valid. But yeah, just be careful who you're letting into your salon and who you're trusting.
And don't give anything out for free.
So our next story is Pre-COVID, I always used to let my clients' friends and boyfriends sit in during their appointment. However, one of my regulars had a bit of a dodgy boyfriend at the time. They'd been on and off for a few times, and every time they broke up, she told me something worse about the things that he did. One of which was stealing people's cars and car keys. She asked if he could come and sit in her appointment, but considering my parents had just bought a new Range Rover, I didn't feel comfortable letting him in my house. So I ended up telling her my sofa had broken and that after COVID, I was not letting anyone sit in appointments anymore. She got really annoyed as he had come all the way on the train and he had to wait outside my house for 2 hours. I mean, fair enough. I would do the same.
I was going to say though, like, not letting him in the house isn't really going to make much difference because people have got like loads of different ways of stealing cars now. They don't always need the keys to steal a car. I don't know what exactly they do, but...
I mean, if I had a checklist of ways to steal a car, the first one would probably be get the keys. I
don't know what like people that steal cars do, but sometimes like I see it on like Facebook and stuff, like people's cars have been stolen
and stuff.
And they've got like there's videos of like on their Ring cameras using like wires and stuff. Like they don't need the keys necessarily to
watch enough action movies and you'll know how to steal a car. I think they have the like electrical jammers now, don't they? Where they like...
I don't know.
I know. I know a few things about this. It happened we had a keyless car, like a start-stop car, and you can they can basically get an electrical button where I think any car robbers, let me know if I'm wrong. You can get a thing that they just keep clicking and it interferes with like the mechanisms in the car and just unlocks the car.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, but on some car keys, obviously you can open like the windows, can't you, from your car keys? Like my brother's car can do it. And one night we saw people on the drive on our Ring doorbell and they had like a key jammer and it was raining so bad that day, and when we woke up in the morning the windows on the car were down, so they obviously couldn't unlock the car, but the windows came down about that much and the whole car was just soaking wet. So they've got these things that jam like your locks. But I mean, the simplest way to steal a car is to go into your girlfriend's Lash Tech's house, be like, oh mate, can I use your toilet? And you go, yeah, sure, don't worry. And then they see the car keys on the side, pick up the car keys, come back a week later and steal your car. I personally wouldn't let them in my house, especially if, you know, she was a regular. If you've got that excuse of, oh, COVID, no, I'm not letting anyone else in, I think that's a valid excuse. You know, a lot of people didn't let anyone in after COVID. And if you know that he's got a track record of stealing people's car keys and cars, why risk it? Like, I wouldn't risk it.
The thing is, though, I wouldn't want to make enemies with him. Do you know what I mean?
I would.
Like, making him wait outside. I'd almost just be like, yeah, come in, and then we can, like, chat and you can get to know me a bit more, because then you're less likely to steal my car. If I say wait outside, I think you're more likely to be annoyed and then end up stealing my car.
How's he going to steal your car when he can't get inside and take your keys? I think that it would be different if I was working in a salon, but I work from my family home. So I think, again, you've got to be so careful with who you let in your home, because at the end of the day, you don't really know anyone. You know that girl laying on your bed about as well as you could know someone every 2 weeks for an hour. Do you know what I mean? And the fact that she's telling you exactly what he's doing every time they break up, she knows it's wrong. Yeah. So then for her to be like, oh, yeah, we never did any of that. Can you come in?
Yeah, no. I mean, that's a bit odd as well. It's like, funny. You know, if you had a client who said, oh, my boyfriend cheats on me all the time or whatever. I know it's not that related, but it's something like if you're telling your lash tech intricate things
gonna like them.
About your relationship, you're not going to like him. So if you say, oh, can I bring them
along?
That's
alright, he robs cars, don't worry.
Yeah, like you're just, you're not going to want to let them in, really, are you? No matter, like, even if it's not a boyfriend, if it's a friend who's done you wrong or whatever, and then you're like, oh, like, can we just bring them along now? You're going to be a little bit weary. Anyway.
I wouldn't let them in my house, because it's not just the worry of like my car, it's my mum and dad's car being stolen, my brother's sister's cars being stolen. Like, I'm putting everyone in my house at risk of their car being stolen. When an easy way to avoid the potential of your car being stolen is to not let a car thief in your house. You know,
I mean, why did she bring him anyway though? Like, even though she said you can't bring anyone along with you, why did she?
I wonder whether she waited till... I've had people wait till the appointment, bring their boyfriend and be like, can you come in? And then it's awkward when they're at the door. I'm like,
That's more awkward. Yeah, because if it was
really awkward.
If the client had asked beforehand and then you said no because of COVID or whatever excuse it is,
I think as well,
then it's fine. But if they turn up with them and then you're like, sorry, they can't. That's just it's a really awkward situation.
Maybe she got there, laid down and went, oh, my boyfriend's on his way. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Like, because I think that you're more reluctant to say no if they're already laying on your bed, whereas if you send a message you can think that through and go, oh, why can't you come? Oh yeah, I'll just say because of COVID. Whereas, you've got to think hot on the spot.
I think as well, like, this is why it's important for all lash techs to kind of have like a policy on their Instagram or their website or whatever.
I think post-COVID a lot of people did.
For things like this, but also for like things like cancellation fees and things like that, because I know like with lashes, clients tend to cancel a lot last minute or mess you about a little bit. So I think it's good to have policies written down for your business as well, just so people know that there's like something official that they need to stick to, and like you can refer back to the policy as well when people ask you these sorts of things, because they probably will still ask you. But you can just say like, oh, as per my policy.
You can always just revert back to, sorry, my policy.
You can refer to the policy. So I think that's really important as well.
Maybe you should bullet point right at the top, no car thieves.
That's not the norm, is it? To have, a client.
I mean, it's probably more common than we think, but it's not normal to have someone who, and she's told you point blank, he robs cars. Be different if she said, he steals expensive vases. I haven't got an expensive vase in my house. I have got 5 sets of car keys, because I've got a big family.
Yeah, you would
immediately Carnick's dream. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. We used to always let my friends' boyfriends come in, and I still do with some of them if I know them. But if I don't, I mean, I don't have a lot of energy now to like make small talk with people's boyfriends. I know that sounds really bad, but I actually just want to get you in, catch up with you and get you out, because I think a lot of people as well forget that this is your job. Like, being a lash tech, some people think it's like a hobby, but it's not. This is work for us. Like, I go home a lot of the time from the office and I have clients in the evening. It's work. I want to get you in and out, catch up, make sure you're okay, but do it as quick as possible. I don't really want to ask your boyfriend what he does for a living. I can't be like, he's not my boyfriend. Do you know what I mean? Like, and if he steals cars, I'm even less inclined to make conversation with him. And if I knew that he stole cars, my mum, being an ex-policewoman, surely wouldn't enjoy the fact that I'm letting you sit in
arrested.
Do you know, she's calling up the pub. Do you know what I mean? Like, I personally wouldn't have let them in. So I think that girl did just right. Let him sit out in the rain, darling.
So that was season 3, episode 4 of the Pink Fishes podcast. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to hear more podcasts just like this, then subscribe to our YouTube and our Spotify.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.